weeknights on MeTV.
Ta-da.
Who loves you, baby?
You shouldn't ask.
It's Kojak
Well, it sounds like music to my ear.
on MeTV.
Look at me.
Why do we love him?
Maybe it's the way I comb my hair.
Or maybe it's his trusty right-hand man.
More bite? Cracker! Cracker! Cracker!
Kojak!
Well, I just wanted to hear how it sounded.
Telly Savalas' Kojak.
Story of my life, baby.
Weeknights at 12:30, 11:30 Central on MeTV.
Who loves you?
Hi, I'm John Malos, and welcome to this special edition of Connect with Me on Comcast Channel 187 and 43.6. Today, the world of sports. We have one of the most respected, highly respected high school football coaches in our studio today. You'll instantly recognize the name and the face. No phone calls, sadly to say, sadly to report, but I'm sure we'll manage for the next 30 minutes with our coach and our guest. Back in a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
And of course, this segment is the World of Sports segment. There is no doubt about it. And happy 4th of July to everyone. Remember, stay cool and jump in your pool. Make sure your kids and your pets are safe, because what is it, about 140 degrees outside this 4th of July weekend? It's amazing. The most important thing is to stay safe. But you know what? Despite the heat, yes, football is on my mind, because football is not that far away. And I want to talk to you today about one of the most successful high school programs, football programs in the entire Central Valley. And if I mention this coach's name, he will instantly command respect across the valley. Let's go to the videotape and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Chuck Shidan has been the head coach out at Sanger High for the better part of 23 years. If you focus simply on him during the game, he coaches like a madman. He is in a different world altogether. 1 minute, headsets are on, the next minute, they're off. Pacing up and down the sidelines, he's yelling and screaming, oftentimes losing his voice, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, he even gets on his hands and knees, and he looks like he might even be in pain, almost to the point where he may not be able to watch the football game itself. But Chuck Shidan is a winner. He is a winner on the field. He is a winner off the field. He is also a teacher, and he commands respect from his players and his students. He's a wonderful guy. And I want you to watch this clip of Chuck Shidan. The better part of 23 years, he's been the head football coach at Sanger.
They're running counter, blast, and toss right up our ass. How are they doing that? They are outplaying us.
Let's get it tonight! Come fight! Come fight! Come fight! Come to battle! Come to battle! On the reservation! On the reservation! We're gonna be victorious! We're gonna be victorious!
In our studio now is Chuck Shidan, the head football coach at Sanger High. 23 years he's been on the job. I don't know how he's done it. I'm going to ask him how he has been able to keep those parents at arm's length all that time and have such a winning program. But I'm telling you, this man commands respect from his players and students. He is also a wonderful teacher. We'll talk to him about that. 4 conference titles, 3 section titles. He was also in the title game this past year. Sorry, sadly to say, no phone calls on this 4th of July. It's a tape program, a special edition of Connect with Me. We're back with Chuck Shidan in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, And now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean Dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Just think back, where were you 23 years ago when Chuck Shidan started coaching football at Sanger High? I don't know, where were you, Chuck?
That's too long ago. That's been a long time ago.
Yeah, so 23 years, that would be what, 1990?
1990 was my first year.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So what prompted you to take the job back then? Do you remember that far back?
I don't know. I was an assistant at Sanger, and a couple people suggested maybe I should give it a try, and I hadn't really envisioned myself being a head football coach, but it's something I got into, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, so you kind of fell into it. You accidentally got into it. You didn't do it by design then, huh?
Yeah, well, football's been a part of my life, a part of our family's life forever, and I've coached in different places, and I just somehow ended up back at Sanger, and when the job opened up, I decided to, go for it and give it a shot, and I guess 23 years later, I'm still doing it.
Now, you were a student at Sanger High, too.
Yes, I was a student at Sanger High School, and went away to school, coached up in the Bay Area for a couple years, and decided to come back home and ended up getting a job at Sanger.
Yeah, and now at this stage in your life, you have students come up to you, or even people that are in their 20s and 30s come up to you, hey, I had you as a teacher.
Yeah, that's
how does that make you feel?
Kind of old, actually, but it's good. It's good to see familiar faces, and that's why you try to do the best job you can, and hopefully people enjoy having you as a teacher and a coach.
Right. Hey, I want to get this out of the way because let's go to the videotape right away. I want to turn you to the monitor here. You can still talk into the microphone. This is the championship game, of course, last year, October and November against Garces, section title game. I don't know what the score was exactly. I forgot. Was it 42-29 or something like that?
42-29.
29. Okay, this was the title game, but you've been to the title game many times. What happened here against Garces?
Well, it was a good game, and right before half, they went on a 8-minute drive and scored right before halftime, and they were so explosive. They have, one of their kids is going to Oregon on a baseball scholarship. Their quarterback was poised. They're a big physical team, and we were hanging in there, and it was a 14-10 game, could have gone either way, and right before half they scored. They just went on a great drive, and that made it pretty tough because then it made it 21-10 going into halftime, and then they got the ball in the second half and went on another about 8-9 minute drive. So,
and it's hard to come from behind like that too.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah, it was. That made it 28-10, and it was like, well, we didn't even have the ball because they were just so efficient. They were a very efficient, really well-disciplined team, and we just, if we could have made a stop there, held them to a field goal on one of those two drives, I think maybe it would have been a fourth quarter game. If it was a fourth quarter game where it was close at the end, we might have had a chance. But the score right before half, and then they got the ball and went on another drive, and it was like, for about 16 minutes we didn't see the ball, and it was tough. That made it 28-10. I think we came back and scored to make it 28-17, but by then it was already the fourth quarter, and it was always a two-possession game after that second half score. So it was
I never
tough.
played football. I never coached. Always watched from the sidelines, either as a reporter or as a fan. But I've noticed in these championship games, whether it's high school, college, or pro, if you fall behind in a championship game to any certain extent, it's difficult to climb that hill and get back in the game.
Yeah, because every possession counts, every play counts, and you don't want to. It became a two-possession game.
Yeah,
and that was tough on us. We like to run the ball, and we're not known for passing and scoring real fast. And we went on a couple drives to kind of chip away, but it was just too tough.
I want to emphasize your record here. 4 conference titles, 3 section championships in 23 years. That's quite an accomplishment. How have you done it?
Well, Sanger's a unique place. They talk about communities in the Valley, and Sanger's one of those special places. You know, it's a one high school town, and it's a great following, great support, and the kids just come ready to, you know, work. I mean, even today we worked out this morning, you know, and every morning they come, they work hard. And
what time of day did you work out?
We start our workouts at 5:45 every morning,
okay.
and we average 55. There's 55 kids on our team, and 55 kids show up every morning, and
because they want to.
Because they want to, yeah. I mean, they want to. It's a choice
yeah.
they make, and I think that has something to do with, you know, the success we've had is the work ethic of the kids, and maybe the expectation level of the community that, you know, you're going to play football at Sanger and you have to work hard.
How much of the credit can we give you for those championships, those section titles, and how much credit can we give to the kids and the other part of the coaching staff? How much credit do you take? Let me ask you that.
Well, like this past year was a good example. The team we had was full of just a bunch of hardworking kids, just
yeah.
a really special group. You know, I think maybe had one kid that maybe will go on and play Division I, yet they won a league title and played for a section title. So I think the credit goes to kids that, you know, aren't, you know, their goal isn't, they're not going to play college football, they're not going to play pro football, they're just good high school football players that work hard. So I think all the credit goes to the kids that are
but
involved in this program.
But you have to prepare them, so something has to go to you. You put the
Yeah.
game plan together. You've done it for years, so a part of that's got to go to you too.
Well, and I think it helps continuity. I've been there 23, 24 years. Some of my ex-players now coach with me.
Yeah.
You know, the staff I have 3 or 4 guys that have been part of my staff.
Name your staff. Give them a little credit before we go to break
well,
here.
George Pena, who I coached back in 88, 87, he calls the offense, and he's been coaching at Sanger since 96, 97. So he's been a part of Sanger football. Matt Logue, who runs our defense, was a really good player at Sac State. He's up from up north, but now he is in his 7th year with us. So right there, the 2 coordinators that I have, the continuity there is Matt's been with me for 7 years, and then George has been with us, you know, forever. So right there, that helps. And Steve Villagomez, who coaches our O-line, he was on the 1990 team that I coached. He played on 90, 91, 92. Mario Gonzalez, who does our D-line, I coached him in 97, 98, no, 96, 97. You know, Abel Gallardo, our running back coach, he's been coaching with me since the 1980s.
Yeah.
And then Alex Campos, who coaches our defensive backs, he was a great player at Sanger, you know, back in the 80s, and we coached together, and now he's come back and coached. So, you know, it just goes on and on.
Yeah. We're talking with Chuck Shidan. He's the head football coach at Sanger High School, and football season around the corner. The first game is August the 30th at home at Tom Flores Stadium out there in Sanger. And no phone calls today, sadly to say. This is a special taped edition, 4th of July edition with Chuck Shidan. Back with our program in just a moment.
And now, the Alan Brady Show.
Hi, I'm Alan Brady. You remember me from the Alan Brady Show?
Yes, if Alan needs any help. Shut up, Mel. Yes, sir. Shut up, Mel. Shut up, Mel. Yes, sir.
I had the best TV writers on my show. Rob Petrie, Sally Rogers,
Hey, I got it. Don't anybody move.
and Buddy Sorrell.
Well, hey, you moved. I forgot it.
On the Dick Van Dyke Show here,
Alan, if you're...
Shut Up Mel, on Me TV.
Weeknights at 9:30, 8:30 Central on Me TV.
What's the matter with you?
Talking with the one and only Chuck Shidan, and around the state of California, he has a lot of respect from coaches around, of course, in the high school ranks because he's been around so long and his winning record. But he also, you know, it's very important to note that Chuck Shidan is more than just a football coach. You know, the players trust him, they like him. He's a player's coach, but he's also a teacher. And that's really a credit to you, Chuck. You're a teacher, and your students respect you as well as your players.
Yeah,
You don't have to play on the team to like Chuck Shidan.
Right, and I think that helps. You get to know the whole culture of the high school. You know, you know the whole student body, not just the little group of football players. So it makes it nice that you do know, you know, you have some interaction with all the, well, as many students as you can at Sanger High School. You know, we've grown, we're a big school now, but I try to get to know as many kids as possible on our campus.
You started coaching in 1990. What has changed in 23 years? Do you coach the same way that you did 2 decades ago?
Well, I think things have changed. The safety issues, things like that, have come on, and I think as we evolved in the '90s, we used to go out there and do double, triple days. Even really say even in the '80s when I was an assistant, and a lot of that has stopped. And what we're doing a lot more now is doing a lot more conditioning and strength training has really grown. And when I took over in 1990, our summer program was very limited. We get together, throw the ball, kids would come lift, and they'd go home. And around mid 90s, we switched to this morning workouts, and where everyone's required to be there, and it's a pretty our summer is very extensive. I think the one thing that's changed from 1990 to now is our off-season program. Very extensive.
But how you particularly coach, how you relate to a player or players, has it changed because our culture has changed?
Oh, I would hope that I haven't changed. I think, kids are kids, and you still, treat them with respect and ask discipline from them. And I think that's how we started the program, and, way back then, and hopefully, we're still doing that.
But when you ask your players to be disciplined, do you ask it in a different way than you did 23 years ago? Is it pretty much the same?
I think it's pretty much the same. I think that hasn't changed for us. And again, it is nice being at Sanger. I think it's a nice small community, and everyone knows each other, and you ask they kind of the expectations there. So things are it's easy to coach at Sanger.
Go through the gamut with me. Let's say I'm a player and I'm not as disciplined as I should be. How would you approach me, and what's your philosophy on handling players that need a little reining in, let's say?
Well, there's different type of lack of discipline. It could be lack of work ethic. It could be lack of commitment. Could be a bad attitude. So each one is you work differently. So if we think someone isn't running from drill to drill, or maybe they're
100%,
100%, or maybe they're cutting reps, we'll pull them off to the side and say, either you're going to do this way, or you're not going to be a part of Sanger football. That's the first thing. And then if they continue to do it, they're just not going to be a part of Sanger football. So,
right.
there's.
Do they respond to that? Do they respond pretty well? They understand.
They understand, and again, the core of the kids that come together, they know that that's what's going to be expected. Now, it's not always going to be that way. Through the years, maybe we've had a group of kids that didn't work hard, and it reflects on the win-loss record. It's the way it is. But 9 times out of 10, kids are working hard, and if they're one that isn't, we pull them off to the side, say you got to get with it, or it's not going to happen for you. So there's those, and if you're not coming, you're not showing up, then they're going to get left behind.
How do you explain the football culture at Sanger? I worked out there for 2 years.
Yeah, you did.
It's almost, I hate to use this word, but I can't think of any other. It's like a cult.
Yeah, it
really is.
It's
not like going to Edison High School football or Bullard High School or Sanger High School football is a following. It's almost like a religion.
Yeah.
How do you explain it?
I can't explain it. It's something else. It's funny. A couple of our players were just involved in the North-South All-Star game that was held down in Golden Valley, Merced, and one of the parents said, "Hey, the game was crazy. It was like a Sanger game. The fans were yelling, and everyone was like standing up, and everyone was like on the rails, and everyone was really excited." He goes, "It was crazy. It was funny." He related it to a Sanger game. So I don't know. I can't explain it.
Has it always been that way?
I think it's always been that way. If you go back to, even go back to the 60s, when we had great teams then. And, I remember the great 76 Valley Championship team that they had to move the game because the crowd was so big. One of their big playoff games, they moved it to La Monica Stadium just to accommodate everyone. So it's always been very passionate. I think it's just a working class community that loves their football.
Yeah, and there's only one high school.
Only one high school.
Okay, only one football coach, only one football team. Yeah. So who else do we root for?
Right, and we don't get a lot of. There's not a lot of people coming in, going out. This is Sanger, and this is who we have, and so
it's a closed community.
So I guess, which is good in a way.
Yeah,
and it's
I know.
not, it has its pluses and minuses.
Yeah,
so.
outsiders are not welcome.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? You have
Yeah.
your pass to be in town.
Right, yeah.
It's one of those deals.
Yeah.
But it can be a good thing. It can be a positive thing because they're 100% behind their team, and that is a positive, Chuck.
Yeah.
You can't ask for more than that.
No, I said it's easy to coach at Sanger. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is because the kids are great, and it's just great.
Yeah. We're talking with Chuck Shidan. He's the head football coach at Sanger High School. He's been there 23 years. This is a special edition of Connect with Me, July 4th edition. No phone calls, but we're back with our guest, Chuck Shidan, in just a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified, ready, steam equipped, high efficiency Frigidaire affinity place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Frigidaire laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
We're having too much fun here on the 4th of July, talking with Chuck Shidan. And, I know it's like 190 degrees outside. It feels like it. But we're talking football. Yes, they're working out, but early in the morning, about 5:45, because, hey, pro football teams are in camp now, aren't they? It's going to be July, or maybe not yet, but they will be soon.
It's coming, yeah.
Yeah, it's coming. And football season is less than 2 months away. Your first game is what, August 30th?
August 30th against Sunnyside at Tom Flores Stadium.
Okay, that's great. And tickets are how much? Oh, you don't know.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, you have no. That's not your department.
That's not my department.
I mean, come on. Yeah. Come on. What am I talking about? Anyway, you're the football guy. So, let me ask you something that I've been wanting to ask you. And I don't want you to think I'm putting you on the spot or anything, but I'm amazed. At least I was when I worked in Sanger for 2 years, because I know how passionate they are about their football team. How have you? And you have to do this. You can't let people dictate to you how you're going to coach. How do you keep the parents at arm's length? Because every parent wants their kid to play.
Right.
Every down, every game, every minute, every second. How do you keep them at bay and do your job?
That's a good question.
You've done it.
Yeah, I've done it. And sometimes it's not that easy, John. It's tough, and we understand. And me being a parent, also, you come to the game, you want to see your son play, or you want to see your team do well, and sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But I think open lines, communication. We don't have a closed door policy. I live in Sanger. My phone number's listed, and it's been a pretty good experience. I think if you communicate well and everyone knows where everyone stands and where everyone's at, I think you maybe eliminate some of those problems. But it is tough, and it's high school athletics, on a bigger stage. So
years ago, when I worked up in Sacramento as a sportscaster, a high school football coach out there at Cordova High told me, I don't know if you know who he was, but he told me, and I asked him the same question. And he said, because Cordova High had this almost like this same Sanger type fan base, he basically told me the key is don't become friends with the parents, keep them at bay. Is that the key? You just don't become too close or too friendly with the parents because you don't want them interfering in your coaching plan or whatever?
That's a really good point, because I think maybe there's 2 or 3 different ways to go about this. And some coaches are very, I won't say standoffish, but they're very, that this is how it is, and they're very rigid. Obviously, my personality, I can't be that way. So I kind of maybe go the other way, not where I want all the parents to be friends with me, but I have a very open relationship with with parents. And I know there's been some really good coaches that have coached in this area that are the other way. So you don't become friends. This is how it is. It's black and white. And, hey, they get the job done. They've been very successful that way. But I just don't think I could be that way. So
it's not in your genes.
No, it's just not. So
You're too friendly a guy.
Yeah. So I don't think that would work, and it would just not be that way. I think I try to maybe win the trust over the parents, and maybe they understand where we're coming,
Yeah.
I also understand too. We get a lot of flack, like, oh, our play calling, or the defense we're running, or what are we doing? And
didn't I criticize you in the paper one time?
Yes,
I did. I did.
Yeah.
Why is he running the football so much?
So
Why
much.
so how do you handle that from the parents or from guys like me that don't know what they're talking about?
I think it's probably the best thing that you have is because we go to some stadiums and it's empty and there's no one even cares. They don't care what you're doing on 3rd and 3. They don't care if you're running a zone or man-to-man.
In Sanger, they do.
They do. So you kind of, hey, that's a fun thing. That's part of the. That's part. People are passionate. And I understand. You watch the pros and they're throwing the ball around 40 times and. I understand that's what they see and that's what they want, and so it's okay.
Where did you learn your football philosophy about running football? That's your primary.
Well, I think it goes back to our roots. That's the old school football, and I know for high school, we try to get the best. How are we going to be successful at Sanger High School? And a long time ago, we said we're going to play really, really, really good defense, sound defense, and we're going to control the clock and run the ball. And then take our shots passing the ball. And we have thrown the ball through the years. When we won championships, we have had great passers. We've thrown for over 2,000 yards, a season. Yeah. So you just try to come up with a scheme that is going to help you. And at Sanger, that's how we've built our foundation. Solid defense, run the ball.
Well, I go back to 4 conference titles, 3 section championships. So, my advice would be don't change. Don't listen to guys like me in one ear and out the other. Just keep doing what you're doing. It works. It's worked for 23 years.
Right.
It works.
It works, and the defense is the main thing. If you can play good defense, then you're okay.
Right.
And a couple of years ago we switched to running these zone option plays, and now that's the rage of everyone. But a couple of years ago we were getting flack like, "Why are you running option? Why are you running option?" Now Kaepernick's running option. Out of the pistol.
In the NFL.
In the NFL, everyone's running option. So I said, "Hey, we're ahead of our time." We were 2 years ahead of everyone.
As I mentioned in the monologue, you get very emotional during the games. It's like you're a different person. And do you even realize that?
No, and I think I do realize it. And through the years, I've kind of, it's more, sometimes it's a stage thing and everything. As I've gotten older, I started out as a 30-year-old head coach, and now I'm 55. So
you certainly don't look it. I'll tell you that.
Thank you. But I think the kids. That's one thing Sanger's known for is how the team plays, and hopefully they play like their head coach, and we play with a lot of emotion.
You're emotional.
Yeah,
that's all.
And we want our kids to be that way too.
Yeah.
We want them to play with a lot of spirit and everything, and that's, if you look at good championship teams, that's what they have.
I miss covering Sanger football out there. I love the team. I love your program. And by the way, that one year I was out there, you did beat Bullard. That was a catch.
It was a catch.
It was a catch. I took a picture of that.
Yes.
It was a catch. It did not hit the ground.
Yeah.
Who was that? What receiver was that?
Oh, that was Green. Yeah.
Yeah, Green. That's right.
Yeah, and he caught it. We were going to score.
Yeah, that would have been a big win.
Yeah, I think that was 2009, I believe.
2009, and that you were on the way to winning the game possibly with a game-winning touch. You were like on their 35-yard line or something.
That was a tough call. And
who's your biggest rival, would you say?
Reedley has been the traditional old-time rival. Through the years we played the tomahawk and the treasure chest, but
maybe Bullard now.
Bullard, Edison. We have a little thing going with Bullard and Edison. Bullard's gotten the best of us the last couple of years. And Edison, those are all like really good, tough rivalries. We used to have a good rivalry with Clovis, but since we got split up in leagues, we lost that game. We're trying to get that game back maybe in a couple of years.
One final thing before we run out of time here. High school coach in this area that you highly respect, if you were to pick one.
Oh man, that's a tough question. I know everyone.
I know you respect all of them, but I mean, if you were to pick out one and you
I just think there's so many that do such a good job. You have to go back years where the guy that everyone respected the most was Tim Simons.
Yeah.
He was like a guy, you really look up to, and a guy that's how you want your program to be like. So I know he's not coaching anymore, but I mean, everyone in our league, are
just looked up to him. Yeah.
Everyone just loves him. Donnie Arax. He talks. If you ask him, he's going to say Tim Simons. You ask me, probably going to have to say Simons. He's like one of those guys.
You know what they're saying now? Chuck Shidan.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
All right.
Chuck, we're out of time. I don't want to get cut off here, but you come back anytime. You're welcome here. August 30th, game opener or season opener, home opener. Against Sunnyside at Tom Flores Stadium. One of the good guys, Chuck Shidan. Hope he comes back soon. Hope he has a great season out there at Sanger. Go Apaches. Hey, we're back tomorrow. Have a safe 4th of July.
Do you like me?
Just like me.
Like Me TV Fresno on Facebook. Get the latest news, interact with others, watch videos, become a fan of me. Exclusively brought to you by Ventura TV.
Look at that. Isn't that a great layout?
You son of a gun.
This campaign is no good.
No good.
Darren and Larry, the original Mad Men on Bewitched.